Hey YouTube, this is Wade from Everyday Sustainable. Today I'll be sharing 5 quick tips on how to live more sustainably today. So let's get right to them. The first tip is to eat vegan. I created a whole video where I talked about sustainable eating that I'll link up here and in the description down below if you'd like more information on why eating less animal products is so important to fight climate change. For now, suffice it to say, there was a study that found that eating vegan is the single most effective thing an individual can do to combat climate change. I want to remind you this is not an all or nothing proposition. You can just start somewhere. In fact, I'm not fully vegan, I'm only vegetarian. And you don't even have to go that far. Start by just cutting meat out 1 meal a week where I started, or maybe removing dairy from your diet. Small steps can really make a big difference if we all do them. The second tip is reduce, reuse, recycle. This one's a classic. I'm sure you've heard it before, and there's much that could be said about it. Because these are quick tips, I just want to quickly highlight the importance of consuming less. The point of recycling, after all, is not to do it more, but to do it less. If you've never heard that one before, the idea behind that phrase is that if we're consuming less, we have less plastic and cardboard waste that needs recycling after all. Recycling isn't a perfect process, so the less we put in those blue bins, the better. How do we reduce our consumption though? Well, that answer is probably going to be different for you than it is for me. Foundationally, I think it's about saying no to the message that we're consumers first, that's where our identity comes from, and that's a powerful message that's fed to us every day. And the truth is, that message is a lie. So let's break from that. Maybe you combat that lie by having certain days where you tell yourself you won't spend any money. That can be quite a freeing experience. Or perhaps on large purchases, you set a certain amount of time where you want to think about them before you actually click that buy button. It's ultimately about recalibrating our wants and our needs. Marketers want to confuse us on that point, so it's helpful for us to straighten those things out in our minds. And when we finally do buy an item, we can buy used to reduce the demand for new products, and we can buy high quality items so that they last longer. We can reuse them over and over, and those items can often be repaired more easily. The third tip to live more sustainably is to drive less. This one's great because it reduces air pollution and carbon emissions. Some practical tips for driving less are to use public transportation, carpool, walk, and bike to destinations. The reality is, it's so easy to fall into the pattern of just driving everywhere. Especially for Americans, the reality is our cities are largely designed to be driven by privately owned cars. We can counter this reality and begin to create a new normal by opting for other modes of transportation. The fourth tip to live more sustainably is to grow your own food. Again, I covered this topic in another video, which you can watch here or in the description below. For now, I'll just say that this can be a rewarding experience, a great way to offset some of your carbon impact, and you don't need a lot of space to do it. You really don't need a full-size garden. You can just grow something in a windowsill if you have to. So start somewhere today. The fifth and final tip is to be political. I mean political in the broadest sense of the term. Politics is how we live in public. Yes, of course, that affects the way we vote. It means we don't vote for climate change deniers, and we don't vote for politicians who receive large contributions from the fossil fuel industries. And it means we hold our elected officials accountable. I'm looking at you, Joe. But being political in a sustainable way touches every aspect of our public lives. It means it should shape where we shop, how we spend our money, the organizations we're involved in, and quite simply how we see the world. Let us be political. Let us live sustainable lives, and may we be better citizens of the world today and every day. See you in the next one.